Take two after having a rage quit. Here we go. NSA Helium 3 blower, Gemstone, the owl whistle versus dog whistle, Magna Security Solutions, BSP, the nuclear proctologist, Beautiful Girl by Dana, uranium in Fukushima, Chernobyl, and 3 Mile Island can't explode. So what happened? And why are we having a shortage of helium-3? Another episode of just asking questions that have been answered repeatedly as if you didn't look up the answer and ignore it entirely. Also known as Nuclear Power and Nuclear Bombs 101, saying the opposite of what you read because that's edgy. Disclosure, I don't like nuclear power or weapons. They're not the same thing, so if I was interested in at least using the nuclear power plants as is, that wouldn't mean I'm pro-nuke bomb. Saying you're pro-nuke is like saying radio signals are radiation when they're not. Because they're not. And almost as stupid as saying, inside the atoms are the isotopes. That's a Beautiful Girl by Dana quote. He also said that yellow cake, if it was in the room, it'd kill you, even though it's literally not dangerous at all if you don't touch it or consume it. Someone found 2 diagrams, actually schematic diagrams, for gun-type uranium bombs, the little boy bomb. This is a type where it takes 2 critical masses and separates them, one smaller or larger, whatever, and rams them into each other, and then applies an explosive force to compress them. There's many ways to do this, but there's a requirement. You form the critical mass. You can use the subcritical mass and put more pressure on it, but a critical mass is the same ratio or same matter, enough matter in the same space to cause a sustained chain reaction, a sustained nuclear reaction. Some elements, obviously, lead doesn't do this, rocks don't do this, but uranium will, but they're variations of uranium, there are various types of isotopes. Some are heavier than others, and some are more unstable, and sometimes both at the same time. And if you make a nuclear power plant, anti-nuclear power people claim, they claim this without saying it because they know it's not really true, that nuclear power plants can explode like a nuclear bomb, even though they can't. The type of uranium, or the isotope of uranium, that is used in a gun-type bomb, or any other uranium bomb, or is the core or pit in any other kind of bomb that involves this sort of thing, is a specific type that is easier to detonate, because why would you use the one that's harder to detonate? Oh, I know, because one that doesn't blow up would work for a nuclear power plant and wouldn't explode. And saying that infuriates anti-nuke people because it's a fact. Nuclear power plants use an enrichment level, meaning that particular explosive type of uranium, or even non-explosive type, that will liberate neutrons faster, of like 3%, 20, something like that. They don't want to have it too high because technically if you get enough in a space, theoretically, hypothetically, it might go boom. On the other hand, in a nuclear bomb, or uranium bomb like they're talking about, you use the smallest amount possible to achieve criticality, so you use the stuff that's hotter. And that is high percentage, 99 or above, 99% enriched uranium, meaning it has extra neutrons in the atoms that you're using. That's how it works. So now after I said that, I'm going to say also that nuclear reactors use steam-powered generators because they boil water. And I'm going to mention the word criticality, and critical mass are misused a lot. So I'm going to read off this verbatim. 2 gun-type nuclear weapon diagrams this guy found look like a security camera tower outside of Fukushima, because he found a diagram that shows the tamper, which is just basically something thick to contain neutron emissions on impact, so that the critical mass can go ahead and go be critical and then go through the compression process and explode. The tamper was bigger around a big block here, and then there's the stick-shaped gun in the schematic diagram. That resembled a security tower, which is basically a giant hunk of steel pipe or PVC or whatever, with 2 cameras in it and a bunch of other stuff, for getting stereoscopic views of stuff at a distance of up to 1 kilometer, to look for drones, airplanes, people, rockets, whatever, that might be aimed at, oh, I don't know, a nuclear power plant, because someone wants to hit it because it's a tactical hit. Please look up Command and Conquer in every other video game where this is an actual plot device. But anyway, let's just go on. But anyway, below this little pillar tower thing is a skirt. It's what it's called. It's a metal skirt. It's a square block skirt to put all the wires and cables in so it'll be immune from rain and wind and whatever. So instead of going to a nuclear plant and asking permission to look up the camera's skirt, because they're cyber pervs, someone decided that had to be a big lead tamper, even though it's clear from the photo, even the one that was used, that it's a hollow space underneath with nothing in it. Because nothing says proof, facts, and science better than a superficial resemblance and tilting the diagram 90 degrees to the left and back to try to prove a fake point. I don't want to do Nuke 101, so let's get on to the next statement. At meltdown, a boiling water reactor, see also steam explosion, your average still making whiskey, and Krakatoa, which was a steam explosion that destroyed an island. Let's repeat. At meltdown, please look up what meltdown means. A boiling water reactor, that's a boiling water reactor, yeah, can't explode like a nuke. No, it doesn't, because it doesn't explode like a nuke. Krakatoa was bigger than most nukes are, by the way, if anybody's curious to look up the shockwave value. And it can't go critical. By definition, it's a critical mass if it's in meltdown, you putz. Next. Why didn't anybody tell me the source of this assertion? It's actually the source. What it really concerns, and I'm going to answer that because they didn't want me to look it up and find out what I was being told, because this person's, a bunch of them over the last 2 months, have been posting the helium crisis. What are you talking about? You know what it is. No, but I'm sure you're going to make people look it up and hope that they find your search engine optimized websites. So here we go with the web page ripped down. Why did America and all other nations, that's an interesting statement, somehow run out of helium-3 a few years ago? Simultaneously, this left their borders open to nuclear weapon smuggling. A clandestine reason for the supposed shortage of helium-3 needed in the type of radiation detectors required, interesting, to detect a nuclear weapon. That's not what caused it. You can block protons but not neutrons. I'll get to that if anybody asks me. Neutrons are difficult to shield entirely. You cannot forget about neutrinos either. You can't hide a nuke from the right detector, which uses helium-3. I'm going to cover this really quickly. They don't detect neutrinos. Please look up neutrinos, you moron. There's other detectors, obviously, that don't use helium-3. The source for helium-3 is the process of making nuclear warheads. The reason we have a shortage. Anyway, next. So, is there any way we could blame a specific group that we don't like and drag them kicking and screaming into this because we need the meme and we know it'll get people to like us and give up votes? Let's review. Let's blame the Magna Security Solutions BSP company and blame their camera, the Owl, that appears to be a legitimate camera in a body that could also hold a nuke, even though it's nowhere near the right size or shape or anything, because all you did was look at a schematic diagram. That's not what a nuke looks like. When it does not appear to actually be a nuke. Is this a coincidence? I think not. Okay. Could be. I inserted this adjective. Is there a way we could drag Israel into this so we can sound massively anti-Semitic while we're at it, being paranoid schizophrenics and ignoring cause and effect? Let's just say that we came up with it this way. Israel smuggles nuclear weapons into the most sensitive areas in all the developed nations under the disguise of security contracts and cameras. They're proprietary equipment, so these countries would have to be allowing only Israelis to service them and place them where if anything goes boom, all is lost. So the countries would have to provide massive financial bailouts to Zionist bankers. And though I have not proven any of this, because it's bullcrap, I bet these countries are blackmailed with the threat of nuclear Armageddon. All right, now, has anybody ever seen a video where they show a missile taking out a nuclear missile? Do you know why that works? Yeah, it kind of punches a hole in this. You can take out a nuclear warhead, no matter how large it is, by punching a hole in it. Because if it doesn't have a completely symmetrical and completely sealed off thing, even an H-bomb stops working. Because they are incredibly, massively precise pieces of equipment. It may be a bomb, but it requires insane, absurd, pornographic levels of accuracy and precision. And any defect, anything, including a hole from a .50 caliber BMG going through it, or any number of other things, or just having it one explosive cap go off at the wrong timing, means the damn thing won't go off. Even the simplest one, the gun type, yeah, little boy, if you poke a hole straight through the middle, which no one can stop you from doing if they're on site, it won't work. See also the fact that the things they're referring to, in some cases, had holes drilled in them. Look, this is really, really funny and stupid, and I think this is the most entertaining thing I've run into. This is literally laughable. But nuclear bombs are not some magic panacea of evil and fear. A nuclear bomb is incredibly easy to disable. Punch a hole in it. Gun type, which is what is being described here, is even easier. Any defect in it makes it to where it doesn't go boom or fizzle. It just blows uranium around. And if you make it a subcritical mass, which is preferred if you're going to sneak a bomb in, briefcase bombs use subcritical nukes. You're throwing less radioactive material around, so it's not even a dirty bomb anymore. And because it's trying to blow it two pieces together towards the end, if there's a hole, it'll break in half and it'll encase both pieces. Because it'll pass the defect, break, spin, and both hunks of uranium are in the same canister, which is designed to contain the uranium. People really believe that when people make nuclear power plants and nuclear bombs, they try to make them as dangerous for them as possible. This is a meme that people need to shoot themselves in the foot over every time I see this. A neutron hitting helium-3 is converted through a nuclear reaction, as opposed to some other kind at this point, into charged particles, tritium and protium, which are then detected by a charge cloud. There, what detects, you can use other elements, any element that splits. This is for Geiger-Muller tube counter, proportional counter. Anyway, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security had hoped to deploy detectors to spot smuggled plutonium in shipping containers. And their preferred one was to use helium-3, but there was a shortage because nuclear weapons production is where you get it from. Kind of quinky-dinky. So they switched over in 2012 to using boron-10. And that's when the story apparently died. Anyway, if you want to look up the little advertisement screen, the 3D cameras, these are 3D camera towers, are used to detect all sorts of things. That's it. And again, you can... How do you disarm a bomb? Cut the red wire. How do you disarm a nuclear bomb? Shoot it. No, I'm not kidding. Why don't people know that? Oh, that's right. Y'all watch James Bond movies, and somehow it's got to be No, you just break the damn thing. That's why you shoot them down with a missile. This is incredibly easy to look up, and someone got away with getting traction with this because people keep reposting it, along with the idea that nuclear power plants use high-grade uranium for nukes instead of low-grade uranium that's actually used in power plants. Epilogue. We don't teach enough science in school anymore for people not to be fooled by this. And it doesn't help that people have decided to very, very easily mutate the propaganda so that people who are in the least educated areas are tricked into thinking that education's bad for you and turn you into one of those filthy liberals. Next, I'd like to point out who keeps spreading the meme of Israel and Mossad being the big boogeyman. Who would benefit from you fearing Israel? And who keeps repeating it? And where aren't you getting that maybe they're connected? Just a thought. Propaganda has... Don't follow the money, follow the outcome. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. Your shoe and Mossad video below.